Hello, and welcome to Scrum Study. Today, we're going to learn the phase explained after plan and estimate in Scrum, implementation. So what is implementation all about? The implement phase is related to the execution of the tasks and activities to create a project's product. These activities include creating various deliverables, conducting daily stand-up meetings, and reviewing, fine-tuning, and regularly updating the product backlog at regular intervals. The Scrum body of knowledge says that the phase implement can be applied to portfolios, programs, and/or projects in any industry, products, services, or any other results to be delivered to stakeholders, and projects of any size or complexity. We need to throw more light on the overview of the implement phase process. Let's understand them one by one. The first process and sequence is create deliverables. In this process, the Scrum team works on the tasks in the sprint backlog to create sprint deliverables. A Scrum board is often used to track the work and activities being carried out. Issues and problems being faced by the Scrum team could be updated in an impediment log. Conduct daily stand-up is the second process followed. In this process, every day a highly focused, time-boxed meeting is conducted, referred to as the daily stand-up meeting. This is the forum for the Scrum team to update each other on their progress and any impediments they may be facing. The last process in the implementation phase is refine prioritized product backlog. In this process, the prioritized product backlog is continuously updated and maintained. A prioritized product backlog review meeting may be held in which any changes or updates to the backlog are discussed and incorporated into the prioritized product backlog as appropriate. Now that we have understood that there are three processes involved, let's learn them in detail now. We are starting with the process Create Deliverables. Here, we will be learning about the inputs, tools, and outputs involved in creating the deliverables. The first source of input is none other than the Scrum core team itself. It, as an input, consists of the Scrum team, the Scrum Master, and the product owner. Sprint backlog as an input has the list of the tasks to be executed by the Scrum team in the upcoming sprint is called the sprint backlog. It is common practice that the sprint backlog is represented on a Scrum board or task board, which provides a constantly visible depiction of the status of the user stories in the backlog. Also included in the sprint backlog are any risks associated with the various tasks. Any mitigating activities to address the identified risks would also be included as tasks in the sprint backlog. Once the sprint backlog is finalized and committed to by the Scrum team, new user stories should not be added. However, tasks that might have been missed or overlooked from the committed user stories may need to be added. If new requirements arise during a sprint, they will be added to the overall prioritized product backlog and included in a future sprint. Scrum board is the next input. Scrum's transparency comes from openly viewable information tools like the Scrum board, which shows the progress of the team. The team uses a Scrum board to plan and track progress during each sprint. As you can see in the diagram given, the Scrum board contains 4 columns to indicate the progress of the estimated tasks for the sprint. A to-do column for tasks not yet started, an in-progress column for the tasks started but not yet completed, a testing column for tasks completed but in the process of being tested, and a done column for the tasks that have been completed and successfully tested. At the beginning of a sprint, all tasks for that sprint are placed in the to-do column and are subsequently moved forward according to their progress. Furthermore, the Scrum board should preferably be maintained manually on paper or a whiteboard, but can also be maintained electronically in a spreadsheet. The Scrum team should change or add to the Scrum board as required so that the Scrum board provides visual information and control about the work going on as agreed and committed by the team. According to the impediment log, any impediment is any hindrance or hurdle that reduces the productivity of the Scrum team. Impediments must be identified, resolved, and removed if the team is to continue working effectively. Impediments can be internal to the team, such as inefficient workflow or lack of communication, or they can be external. Examples of external impediments might include software license issues or unnecessary documentation requirements. The Scrum framework, with its inherent transparency, facilitates the swift and easy identification of impediments. Failure to identify or deal with impediments can be very costly. Impediments should be formally recorded by the Scrum Master in an impediment log and can be discussed during daily stand-up meetings and sprint review meetings as appropriate. Now we're going to talk about the tools involved in this phase. Team expertise is the most sought-after tool in the implement phase. This refers to the collective expertise of the Scrum team members to understand the user stories and tasks in the sprint backlog in order to create the final deliverables. Team expertise is used to assess the inputs needed to execute the planned work of the project. This judgment and expertise are applied to all technical and management aspects of the project during the Create Deliverables process. Scrum team members have the authority and responsibility to determine the best means for converting the prioritized product backlog items into finished products without requiring involvement of any stakeholders outside the team. Additional expertise is available from the Scrum guidance body as required. We have seen the inputs and tools involved. Let's now see the outputs generated in the last leg of the process. Sprint deliverables is the first output. At the end of each sprint, a product increment or deliverable is completed. The deliverable should possess all features and functionality defined in the user stories included in the sprint and should have been tested successfully. Updated Scrum Board is another important output. The Scrum Board is updated regularly as the team keeps completing tasks. However, at the end of the sprint, the Scrum Board will be reset or wiped off and a new Scrum Board is created for the next sprint. Updated Impediment Log, another important output. Impediments should be formally recorded by the Scrum Master in an impediment log. So that's it. Let's have a quick wrap-up of what we learned today. We learned the significance of the phase implement and the 3 important processes involved. We've also learned the various inputs and tools being used and outputs generated during the first process called Create Deliverables. We will be discussing the next process, Conduct Daily Stand-Up, in the next video. Until then, keep learning through Scrum Study. Thanks for watching.